Hello, welcome to the Dreamers Podcast. I'm your host, Anne-Lyse Wealth, and I'm so excited that you have decided to tune in today for a very special episode. Today is episode 100 of the podcast. Honestly, I can't believe it. It's literally been 100 weeks since I've launched the podcast back in 2021. And it's been 100 weeks since I've been connecting with you, sharing my dreams with you, sharing my goals with you, having amazing conversations with dreamers. When I started recording, the first word that came to mind was grateful. I'm just grateful. I'm so grateful for you guys. I'm so grateful that you're rocking with me still. I'm so grateful if you're a new listener or if you just stumble upon this podcast on YouTube. I'm grateful that you're here. And I'm grateful that you're here to celebrate this milestone of releasing 100 episode every single week. Every single week, I've dropped an episode, and I'm just thankful that you kept me accountable. Yeah, let's get into today's episode. This is year end, so it's the end of 2022, and I'm sure you've been thinking about your goals. If you don't already have your goals for 2023, I know for me, I started planning for 2023 a few months ago, and I'm going to take the next few weeks to actually put pen to paper when it comes to having quarterly goals. So that's what's been going on. But since today is episode 100 of the podcast, I thought it would be the perfect time to talk about some of the lessons that I've learned since launching and really why I think more people should start a podcast. Showing up every week for 100 weeks has been challenging, to say the least, because life happens. But it's really taught me a lesson about consistency. I'm a pretty consistent person, but having committed to show up weekly since the day that I launched the podcast, I felt an even stronger desire to hold my end of the bargain. And initially, I just wanted to do it for 1 year. Little did I know that it was going to keep going. And so now here we are on week 100. I'm not going to lie, there were times where I wanted to give up, where the show wasn't growing as fast as I wanted it to, or I wasn't seeing a direct return on investment and it was very time consuming. But I had to remind myself of why I started the podcast in the first place. And this is really a true labor of love. I started the show to inspire and provide resources to dreamers so that they know that they can live a wealthy life on their terms as well. And the show is about inspiring at least one person to take action, inspire them and give them the tools so that they feel empowered to live their best lives, really. So that's why I'm continuing to show up week after week. I'm really thankful for the messages that you sent me or people sharing how they find me or my work through the podcast. And really just it's invaluable. So thank you. Now let's get into the topic of today's episode, which is really why you should start a podcast if you don't have one already. The number one thing that comes to mind right now is expand authority in your field. So for me, personal finance is something that I'm very passionate about. Wealth literacy education for my community and beyond, so that people are inspired to live a wealthy life on their terms. Whatever your field or area of expertise in, when you show up on a podcast, whether it's a weekly show, bi-weekly show, especially if you start taking your show to YouTube, then there's SEO and Google starts associating your name with the topic that you're covering. So you are basically showing up more and more as an authority in your field. So this has been a great, great part of launching the podcast for me. I think the second thing I want to talk about is networking. When you have a show like mine, which is guest-based show, you invite people on your platform, you share your platform with them, you build relationships with them. And it's been an amazing adventure. I've made so many great connections since starting the podcast. I've had quite a few clients that were previous podcast guests. So in terms of networking, it is a great, great tool. So you should definitely give it a try. Then learning, number 3. As much as I feel like I know about personal finance or just about entrepreneurship or the million ways that you can make money, build wealth, grow your wealth, there's still so much more to learn. So every time that I'm bringing in a guest to talk to us about their experience building wealth. I'm learning something. So you're not the only one learning. I'm learning every week. So it's been one of the best parts of having a podcast, really. I truly believe that life is about constant education and elevation, and the podcast provides me an opportunity to do just that. And it would provide you an opportunity to do that too if you decide to start a podcast. Consistency. I hinted at that earlier, but number 4 is consistency. The podcast taught me to be better prepared because guess what? Life happens. So if I'm really trying to record these episodes every week, then if something happens, I'm not going to be ready. So it really forced me to better prepare, to plan ahead so that I could have a backlog of episodes and stay consistent. Number 5, last but not least, income. And so for me, even though I don't generate income directly from the podcast, it's been a great marketing tool to create income. I've had multiple income generating opportunities from the podcast. And there are podcasts out there that are making 7+ figures because they're growing their show, they're consistent, and they have ads, and they have so many other avenues. I'm not quite there yet, but I can definitely say that in terms of increasing my income, the podcast has been a great tool. I've had over 6 figures in incomes from clients just from having this show. Just to recap, there are so many opportunities that come from having a podcast. The 5 that I decided to highlight today is it is a great tool to expand your authority in your field. It is a great tool to network, to continue to learn, to be ultra consistent, and to increase your income. So why not start a podcast? Why not? Give me a reason. Why not? So I hope that those reasons make you at least curious to consider starting your own show. I personally look forward to continuing to show up and serve and build with you guys. Over the next few weeks, I have to think about what I want the show to look like in 2023. And I would love to hear your thoughts. What type of content would you like to see on the show? What type of guests would you like to see? I think I mentioned in a previous episode, right now, I'm wondering whether I should continue to release episodes every week or if I'm going to go on a twice a month type of schedule. Let me know your thoughts. As I'm still processing through it, I would love to hear directly from the people who are listening to the podcast, who are watching the show on YouTube. I want to hear your feedback. And you can send me your feedback on Instagram, via DM. I'm at ANNELYSEWEALTH, Anne-Lyse Wealth. Or you can send me an email at thedreamerspodcast21@gmail.com. I am so looking forward to hearing from you. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope you're thinking about launching your own show. And yeah, I will be going on a break, but over the next few weeks, we're going to have some amazing episodes. And I can't wait to see you guys here soon. But in the meantime, stay connected. See you next week. But I will be back in January with some fire. All right. Talk to you soon. Peace.